Good evening, you're watching Estuary News, I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, an armed robbery in Scunthorpe, a new chapter for the former Holy Trinity Church in Hull, and film stars at a care home in East Yorkshire. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to David Hind about Bridlington's step back in time. Before that, I'll be pain-free with Anne Winslow. An investigation has been launched after an armed robbery in Scunthorpe. It happened around 4:45 yesterday afternoon when a man approached a member of staff at a betting shop on Ashby High Street and demanded cash. The woman handed over the money and the robber left in the direction of Priory Lane. He's described as white, aged between 25 and 35 and wearing a dark-coloured baseball cap and a black and grey jumper. Hull's Holy Trinity Church is now Hull Minster. The new status was marked by a ceremony which saw the Archbishop of York, Dr. John Sentamu, sail down the Humber and into the Hull Marina. He carried with him a lantern lit at All Saints Church in Hessel. Hull Minster has been regenerated with a restructured interior. It cost over £4 million. The Archbishop marked the end of his journey by lighting a candle in the Minster, using the candle he lit in Hessel. Farmers in northern Lincolnshire aired their views on agriculture at a meeting with Conservative Minister Andrea Leadsom. The Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs spent time at Elsham Top Farm on the north and northeast Lincolnshire border during an afternoon tour of the region. As part of today's visit, she was also meeting professionals in the seafood and fishing industries before spending time in the Grimsby constituency, where she met Conservative parliamentary candidate Joe Gideon. During the hour-long meeting with farmers, Mrs Leadsom was reminded of the importance of the rural economy, both to Lincolnshire and the UK. In Lincolnshire, around 1 in 10 people are currently employed in the agriculture business, and the business is worth £1 billion a year to the country. The chief executives of the YMCA Humber and North East Lincolnshire Council recently joined forces in running the London Marathon. Today, Rob Walsh of North East Lincolnshire Council presented Malcolm Smith, the CEO of YMCA Humber, with a cheque for over £6,000. The money will be put towards opportunities for members of the YMCA Humber.
Running the marathon was it was a personal challenge for myself. We're constantly challenging young people that we're working with to do things that they think is impossible or think it's impossible. So actually running a marathon, and I ran 2 marathons in 2 weeks, which in my head definitely seemed impossible. But to push through, to keep working hard, and when things get difficult, to try hard and complete that challenge. And that was the whole idea around the marathon, really, as well as to raise money for the charity.
We started training probably 4 months before the big event, and fundraising started from that point on. So calling in some favours, talking to friends, colleagues, working together, promoting the role of the YMCA locally and the good stuff that they do, and it just generated an overwhelming amount of support for what is a great local cause. So, we might even do it again.
As I said, YMCA is all about youth empowerment, and we want to be training up the next generation of young leaders. So we've got 5 young people who are going on leadership programmes, 2 of them with World YMCA, and they will become what's known as change agents, which is a global programme that's been tied in with the United Nations, which is very exciting that 2 young people from Grimsby are going to be part of that. And then 3 young people on our Youth Ambassadors programme, which is a national YMCA in YMCA England and Wales National Youth Leadership Programme. It's great. I think I was supported and encouraged when I was a young person. I came through working through charities, in youth-based charities, and people believed in me, and I want to do the same thing for young people of this area. Grimsby is quite an isolated area, so YMCA have the opportunity to give people the opportunity to see other parts of the country and the world, but also to become those people who advocate for other young people and then empower them to have a voice as well.
1,000 jobs could be created if a new energy and data park is given the go-ahead. The proposed £200 million development would be created on the outskirts of Hull on the former Heddon Aerodrome site at Saltend. East Riding Council lodged a plan today which would see a number of international companies setting up in the area. These include Vodafone and SSE, the energy provider. The projects would include a new power station providing energy for the site, as well as a business park and an education campus. East Riding Council has to convince councillors that the proposed development will not pose a threat to the green belt in the area. On tonight's Hot Topic, I'll be speaking to Dr. Ian Kelly, Chief Executive of the Hull and Humber Chamber of Commerce. Here's a preview of what's in store.
In terms of the leaving of Europe and the European Commission, immigration was clearly a factor. But there were others as well. You know, political sovereignty was a big issue, and you know, lots of people of certainly the older generation, you know, see what they initially went into as a common market.
And you can see that episode in full tonight at 8 p.m. on Estuary TV. And more news on Hot Topics. Starting this Thursday night, we'll be running a series of election specials when all the parliamentary candidates of our constituencies will be discussing their aspirations for Parliament. The first episode will be shown on Thursday at 8 o'clock in the evening. Film stars are helping to stimulate memories at an East Yorkshire care home. Claremont House in Beverley, which opened a month ago, features images of Hollywood stars including Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant, as well as local landmarks. The images help dementia patients to remember times gone by. Jenny Falconer is the marketing manager and explains how the project got onto the silver screen.
And it really helps people with social stimulation, so they stop and look at them and they can relate to them, and they talk to staff about them, they talk to relatives and each other about them, and it just helps them bring back memories that are lost to them. What struck me was the photographs of the people from the 60s, the musicals and the film stars and artists. When I first started working in care in the early days, it would have been Vera Lynn on the wall, and quite rightly now it's Twiggy, because that's the generation that's coming through. Yeah, on the ground floor we've got a mural of Beverley Minster, so obviously people can relate to that in all of East Yorkshire. Skidby Mill, which is a real local interest, always sparks conversation. We've got on this floor, we've got the football, the rugby and the cricket, also relevant to East Yorkshire, and we've got Beverley Bar. And something that I've learned since working here was that buses were made especially to go through the bar, which is really interesting.
Now I'm joined by Anne Winslow to tell me about a new technique to turn off old pain that's no longer needed as a warning to the body. Anne, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting
Before
me.
we go on, I've read a book review this morning that Cary Grant was addicted to LSD, which is a bit of a surprise, isn't it?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Anyway, that's nothing to do with what we're talking about. What is this new technique?
Pain's needed as a warning for our body, but often it gets lodged on. It's like, I think of it like your smoke detector goes off, you waft your tea towel, it goes off and all's well. Pain sometimes come, we need it as a warning. If you've broken your ankle, you need to not walk on it, you need to know and get yourself to the hospital and get it put in a pot. But once you've got your pot on, within a couple of days the pain goes. Sometimes with pain in people's body it gets lodged on, so it's like your smoke detector going on forevermore. After you've wafted your tea towel. So it's an amazing technique, and it's having phenomenal results.
So there's something that the pain from the site of the injury or the harm, whatever it is, the nerves take it to the brain and say, trouble here, pay attention please, and that's the pain.
Yeah.
And then the brain just doesn't switch off that
And so there's
that
lots
message.
of people, all over the world in constant pain, and after a while painkillers don't work, and there's nothing that can be done. The pain needs to be checked out medically always, and it needs to be like an old pain. But there's been a technique found that just literally does turn it off, and it's quite profound.
So what is the technique? How do you do it?
It is literally a talking therapy, and it is talking to the part of the brain that controls the pain, and you sort of have a dialogue and actually discuss the fact that pain's needed as a warning, but this is an old pain that's no longer needed as a warning, and you get a yes sign from that part of the brain, and it's usually like a nod forward, which the client is quite shocked when they feel it. And then we just, ask that if any new pain comes, that still needs to be felt, because new pain is a warning. But then we ask it if it's willing to turn the pain off, and it usually does.
Okay, well that sounds fascinating. So you have to sort of talk directly to the brain in a way that you can't talk directly to your own brain, so you need to get somebody else to come and do it. What success have you had?
Phenomenal, really. I mean, there was a lady that had pain in her neck for over 20 years. And on the day that I saw her, we asked between 0 and 10 what's the level of the pain, and she said it was 9, and at the end of the session we got it down to 0, and that was 3 months ago. And you know, that's it. Once it's turned off, it does turn off. It's only new pain that comes.
This is quite a new technique or a new insight into the workings of the brain.
Yeah,
and
it's only been around about a year. And you've only been able to train as a practitioner for the last 6 months. I feel really honoured to be, you know, actually trained as a practitioner in it now.
Well, there aren't many of you. Aren't very many of you.
No, it's growing quite fast because, you know, it's such a phenomenal thing. There's about 50 all over the world now because it is just spreading. You know, the word is spreading about it.
And you can integrate this technique with all the other things that you do as well, I suppose.
Yeah, sometimes the pain might be connected to emotional issues, so I might need to do some of the inner work that I do. Sometimes I might need to incorporate some energy healing with it as well. But it's like working with this part of the brain and finding what needs to happen for the pain to go.
Okay, well, it sounds a great deal healthier and more effective than a couple of aspirin. And thank you very much for coming in. What a successful technique. Join me after the break. Dan will bring us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and I'll be stepping back in time to the 1940s with the town crier of Bridlington, David Hind. Welcome back. You're watching SG News. Still to come tonight, Dan brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking to David Hind about roaring back in time to the 1940s. A 1,000 prisoners will be housed at a new super prison in East Yorkshire if plans are approved, creating 500 jobs. The £91 million development is part of the government's £1.3 billion prison estate transformation programme to improve prisons across the country. The plans were announced by the Ministry of Justice and the Prison and Probation Service earlier this year. The Category C male prison will include 11 buildings and deploy around 500 staff. Council officials will now consider the application and have an answer before August. A full planning application will then be submitted by the Ministry of Justice if given the go-ahead. A new centenary plaque was unveiled today to honour one of Hull's most prominent businessmen. Isaac Reckitt was the founder of Reckitt and Coleman. It started as a family business in 1840, producing starch. The company merged with Netherlands-based Benckiser in 1999, and it's now a global force employing over 30,000 people. The Lord Mayor's Centenary Plaque scheme aims to commemorate 100 individuals who've made a lasting contribution to the city. More than 20,000 music fans are set to descend on KCOM's Craven Park next month. It's part of a concert which will see former Beautiful South leaders Paul Heaton and Jackie Abbott entertain crowds with music from their 2 top 5 albums and classic tracks from the band. They'll be supported by the Divine Comedy and Billy Bragg. Those attending the concert are being advised that parking will not be available on site and they should make suitable travel arrangements on the day. The concert is expected to be a 23,000 sellout. Bridlington is set to roar back in time to the 1940s, and to tell me more, I'm joined by the town's town crier, David Hind. David, welcome.
Thank you very much.
You look, well, he could have made an effort. You look absolutely magnificent.
Thank you very much indeed.
Before we go any further, let's just a couple of items on your status. You're the town crier of Bridlington.
I'm the bellman of Bridlington Old Town, appointed by the Bridlington Old Town Association, and the official town crier for Helmsley, and a member of the Ancient and Honourable Guild of Town Criers. And of course, I was the Warmington-on-Sea town crier in the Dad's Army movie.
Absolutely, that wonderful film of Dad's Army. And you played quite a prominent role in that, leading the parade, I seem to remember.
Oh, it was a fantastic occasion, yes. I mean, the whole town's high street was used for the filming of that parade. And I had the A-stars right behind my shoulders all the way down the street there, and the crowds cheering and waving the flags, And it was a wonderful, wonderful day for the town and for its people and our visitors who come back time and time again.
I think the pleasure shows when you watch the film. Are there any town criers louder than you?
I've got the record for the loudest at 114.8 decibels, which was recorded at Estuary Hall in 2013. It beat a 21-year-old record that was held by the Gloucester town crier, who had 112.8. So, yeah, very proud about that.
OK, I'm not going to ask you to do it here because it will blow our microphones, I'm afraid. Let's get to the business of the day, though. This is the Bridlington Old Town 1940s Festival celebration. And when is it? It's
Sunday, the 11th of June, and it's an all-day event with an eve of festival concert as well on the 10th. But, yes, it's a wonderful occasion. We've got a unique film and festival location because of the Dad's Army movie. And yes, we've got a great entertainment programme. We've got the George Formby Experience, we've got Lola L'Amour, we've got a ukulele orchestra, we've got the Yorkshire Corps of Drums, and a whole day of entertainment right from a very, very large festival area, which stretches right from the Bridlington Priory Church across the Priory Green, up that narrow high street that was used for the filming, into the marketplace and to Westgate, where in fact Private Godfrey's house was in the film.
It's not all about Dad's Army. It's a little bit more genuine with it, but it's also, of course, early 1940s, first half of the 1940s. The country was at war.
Absolutely.
And there's a certain amount of weaponry on display.
Oh, fantastic amount, yes. We've got reenactors from Haworth and from Redcar and from Pontefract. We've got the 61st Reconnaissance there.
That's
and the Soviet
American regiment.
Yeah, and also the Soviets, the Soviet military hospitals there. But our centrepiece on the Kirkgate there will be a Lancaster bomber cockpit. People will be able to go around that cockpit, sit where the navigator sat, sit where the pilot sat, and have a tour of the Lancaster. It will be sitting there with the Priory Church at the back of that. And at 1:40 in the afternoon, we're having a flyover from the Battle of Britain Memorial flight, a Hurricane.
Wonderful.
So, but people are not going to go hungry because we've got 80 stalls of food and also 40s memorabilia on sale and a whole range of other things. We've got a 1940s themed dog show, for instance.
1940s food, is this going to be powdered egg and spam?
Oh, no, it's going to be hog roast. And
oh, lovely. Wonderful.
Hog roast and, yeah, some really fine food there.
Whenever I think of those incredible Lancaster bombers, and I've seen them, the one that flies as well, I've seen it airborne, you hear that reverberating engine going through your rib cage,
Yes,
don't you?
yes.
And you always think of Michael Redgrave sitting down with a cup of tea waiting for news. That's wonderful. You've got other vehicles as well, though, apart from the Lancaster.
Yes, we've got both civilian vehicles and also military vehicles from Dodge trucks, Dodge ambulances, and a whole range, yes, of the 40s there. And they'll be on, many of those will be on the Priory Green. And yeah, so we've got dancing with a military jeep on Gordon Corner, so people will be street dancing, and I encourage everybody to join in. I think it's going to be absolutely fabulous.
Tell me about the concert the night before. You've got quite a lineup.
Yes, we have. It's Echo 42 band from Harrogate with the Honeybirds, who are a trio very similar to the Andrews Sisters type harmony, vocal harmony group, and they're in our magnificent 900-year-old Priory Church. It's a beautiful setting. We had John Miller there last year, and it is fantastic to have Echo 42 big band there. Tickets are only £10. They're available to book through the Spa Bridlington box office and online. And we want to have a full house because it's our celebration of the day that follows. It's on Saturday the 10th of June, that evening, 7:30 concert. And we've got the festival day on the following day, on the 11th, which of course starts at 10 o'clock. And of course it's free. The big thing is it's free and great for all the family.
Great for all the family. Can't charge people to come into their own town, you know. How did it go last time round? It was a big, big crowd.
Yes, it was. Yes, we estimated at least 11,500 to 12,000 people. It's our very first year. And we had lots of people in 1940s dress, all types of old prams. We had very special people there, such as Captain Mannering lookalike, and we had Churchill there, He'll be there again, of course.
Lots of big cigars. Talking of
Yes.
1940s dress, very nice suits they used to have, but nothing quite as they had in the 18th century. You look absolutely fantastic, David.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for coming in, and look forward to that day in the 1940s.
Thank you very, very much for giving us the opportunity, and we welcome everybody
Not
there.
at all, David.
Thank you.
Here's Dan with the sports news.
Hull City have been relegated from the Premier League. They lost 4-0 at Crystal Palace yesterday, ending their one-season stay in the top flight. Defender Andrea Ranocchia made a defensive mistake in just the 3rd minute to allow Wilfried Zaha to open the scoring. They were 2 down at the break and conceded 2 further goals late on. Club captain Michael Dawson, who was recalled for the game, says they'll regroup and come back fighting, but it comes against the backdrop of continued disharmony between fans and owners. The Alam family have had the club up for sale for 3 years but are yet to sell. Head coach Marco Silva will reportedly meet with the board this week to discuss his future. Elsewhere, Scunthorpe United manager Graham Alexander says he won't rush into new signings. The Iron released 4 players last week, and Alexander says he wants new faces in before next season gets underway. He says he'll look to sell the club to potential signings based on their attacking style of play. Grimsby Town will be joined by Forest Green Rovers in League 2 next season. They were promoted via the National League playoffs yesterday. They beat Tranmere Rovers 3-1 to seal a place in the Football League for the first time in their history. On to rugby, and it'll be the holders versus the favourites in the 6th round of the Challenge Cup. Hull FC will host Castleford Tigers in the quarter-finals after the Black and Whites demolished Catalan's Dragons on Friday night. Steve Michaels ran in a hat-trick in the 62-0 win. It's been announced this afternoon that the game will take place on Sunday the 18th of June, kicking off at 3 o'clock. Elsewhere, Hull Kingston Rovers lost 24 points to 14 to Salford. Sean Lunt scored the 2 Robins tries. And that's all for the sport.
Thanks very much, Dan. That's it for tonight. If you want to contact us, Facebook or Twitter pages are below. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 3155553, or you can write to us at Estuary TV Grimsby. That'll get to us. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Hello there and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Tuesday rain will largely clear by midday, with cloud breaks developing, becoming warm in brighter and eastern areas, but a few light afternoon showers are possible. Brisk winds will ease later, maximum temperatures of 20 degrees. Wednesday it's going to be dry at first, with occasionally sunny and some afternoon showers.
Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Hugh Richards. In the headlines tonight, a woman pleads guilty to hiding a baby's body in Grimsby, an arson attack in Grimsby, and turning Scunthorpe into Brick City. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Wendy Fisher, Walking for Charity, and before that, Lauren Alexander and David Welburn tell me about a new campaign for supporting dementia patients. A woman has pleaded guilty to concealing a baby's body in Grimsby. 28-year-old Sinead Connett hid her newborn baby son's body in a drain at her parents' home on Scartho Road in August 2013. It wasn't discovered until February 2016. Connett pleaded guilty to a charge of concealing the birth of a child and the secret disposition of the dead body of a child when she appeared at Grimsby Magistrates Court this morning. A plumbing engineer discovered the body following a call made by the homeowners who had reported drainage problems with the downstairs toilet. A woman has been arrested following an arson attack in Grimsby. The 55-year-old woman was arrested on suspicion of arson following a fire at a house on Highfield Avenue last night. Another woman was rescued by firefighters after the fire struck a first-floor bedroom. Fire damage was confined to the bedroom. Later this week, we start the first of our Hot Topic election specials, in which, constituency by constituency, we question all the candidates willing or able to take part. To give you a flavour of what's ahead, here's a preview of the first edition featuring candidates for Great Grimsby.
She's done it because she needs the full backing of the people to negotiate the best Brexit deal. Quite simply, we want to have the best deal coming out of Brexit, and I think that people noticed in the House of Commons there was a sort of coalition of chaos being organised to stop her from having that mandate.
And that edition will be shown on Thursday at 8 p.m. Police have released CCTV footage of a man they'd like to speak to in connection with an armed robbery in Scunthorpe. The incident happened at around 4:45 on Sunday afternoon when a man approached a member of staff at a betting shop on Ashby High Street and demanded cash. The cashier handed over the money and the robber left in the direction of Priory Lane. He's described as white, aged between 25 and 35 and wearing a dark-coloured baseball cap and black and grey jumper. A consultation has been launched to seek the views of residents of Bridlington who have used the East Riding Council's adult learning services. Following the expansion of the Council's adult learning to Bridlington North Library, the Council is inviting responses about users' experiences and how the service can be shaped for the future. The Council delivers a range of courses, including computer and digital skills, dressmaking and flower arranging. The survey can be found via the Council's website or by visiting the Adult Learning Centre, still in Bridlington Central Library. The consultation will run until the 18th of June. The world of Lego has come alive in Scunthorpe. The 2021 Visual Arts Centre has opened Brick City, an exhibition of several cities and landmarks from across the globe made entirely of Lego. The exhibition is the work of artist and professional Lego builder Warren Elsmore. Dominic Mason, exhibitions officer for 2021, says it's a joy to bring the exhibition to life in Scunthorpe.
Well, this exhibition's called Brick City, and it's an exhibition of Lego models by a maker called Warren Elsmore, who's a professional Lego maker, and he's created a miniature world tour in Lego with over 60 models. And the highlight is this huge model of St Pancras behind me that contains over 180,000 bricks. Well, this is a touring exhibition, so it arrived in 2 trucks in lots of boxes, and this huge model came in huge flight cases and came out in pieces. And one of my favourite things about this job is every exhibition is like Christmas or a birthday. You kind of have lots of boxes and you've got to unpack them all, and Warren and his wife were here unpacking them as well and talking about the models. So yeah, a really exciting time. You can imagine getting all these as presents and putting them out on display, and now the public can come along and have a look at them. I mean, for us, we approached Warren about showing the work here, and we try and show the widest possible variety of kind of art and design here at 2021. And for a lot of people, Lego's how they start out, making sculpture, architecture, engineering, it's all there, so it's great, incredibly popular. We approached Warren. I mean, it's a big touring exhibition. It arrived in 2 trucks, so it's quite an expensive exhibition to put on. Thankfully, we were sponsored by Clugston's, a great local company who've kind of allowed us to bring Brick City to Scunthorpe. It's been amazing. We've had a few kind of big shows over the last 6 months that have brought a lot of people in, and this was the same. We had 1,500 people come in, people outside the door when we opened, and people having a great time. And I think it's the kind of exhibition that people are going to come back to see time and time again, and the kids are going to be, can we go and see the Lego? And I've been thinking maybe our 20th anniversary is coming up in a few years, and maybe we'll talk to Warren about making a new model to commemorate that. We'll see. I think after this exhibition we're going to be asked when's more Lego coming, so who knows. I think other venues it's been to have commissioned other Lego exhibitions. This is one of 3 exhibitions that Warren tours nationally and internationally, so maybe one of his other shows will come back in a few years.
This is Dementia Awareness Week. Library staff across North East Lincolnshire are now Dementia Friends as part of a drive to support more people with memory loss and those suffering with dementia. Dementia Friends is an Alzheimer's Society initiative. It aims to change people's perceptions of the condition. Links Inspire staff have recently undertaken valuable training as part of the campaign week. And on the subject of dementia, a new appeal has been launched to help people living with and caring for those with the condition. I'm joined now by Lauren Alexander and David Welburn of the Health Tree Foundation at Grimsby Hospital to tell me more about the project. Thank you both very much for coming in.
Hi.
First of all, Lauren, what is this project and how is it connected to Dementia Awareness Week?
So the project that the Health Tree Foundation, which is the official charity of Grimsby and Scunthorpe Gull Hospital, has launched, is called Golden Leaves. The whole idea of the project is to help anybody with dementia, especially the elderly within the local community. The main aim of the project is to purchase 2 reminiscence screens for dementia patients that are coming to the hospital. But alongside that, any additional money will be there to support additional services like dementia-friendly toilet seats, clocks, anything to do with reminiscence, so that we can really get the patients interacting whilst they're with us and have a better experience.
Lots of images from the 1950s, 1940s, things like that, to remind them of their youth.
Yeah, most definitely.
Dave, you're a specialist nurse.
Yes, I'm clinical nurse, dementia clinical nurse specialist, yes.
How, it's possible that we get maybe a little bit impatient and uncaring sometimes, not intentionally I'm sure, but it can be exasperating. How should we approach people with dementia?
It's difficult really. I mean, I think in hospital staff have got other priorities as well, with people that are physically unwell. The environment's very noisy, they're very pressured to meet all the other patients' needs as well. So when someone's admitted to hospital with dementia, it can be exceptionally difficult to manage that, I think. It is about just giving time, really. Training helps. I deliver training, Tier 1 and Tier 2 dementia training, so that staff have an understanding about dementia. It's about changing hearts and minds, really, so that staff understand that the person often isn't angry at them. It's never really personal. Communication's often about an unmet need. They maybe wants to get to the toilet, they may be thirsty, they may be hungry. So it's about understanding lots of different things really, and then understanding then what the problem is, you know how to deal with it.
And there are all sorts of different causes for dementia. We just mentioned the Alzheimer's Society. That's only one of many things that might cause it.
Yeah.
It's not inevitable. Not everybody gets it, of course.
No,
there are plenty of perfectly alert 100-year-olds. But
yes, dementia's not a natural part of ageing at all. People in the past have thought it has been. I think put it down to ageing, which is why they haven't tootled along to the GP to get assessed, to go through memory clinic. Biggest one's Alzheimer's disease. 62% of people that have dementia have an Alzheimer's type dementia, which is a slow progression of memory problems. It's caused by plaques and tangles in the brain. The next biggest one's vascular dementia. So that's about anything that's wrong with your vascular system, really.
How do we avoid it then? And please don't
lifestyle.
Say eat healthily and get
vascular, vascular dementia's lifestyle, so being overweight, drinking, smoking, anything that causes those vascular problems can potentially disrupt the flow of blood to your brain, and that's when you have a small stroke, TIA, and that's when you're diagnosed with a vascular dementia.
Lauren, you're trying to raise a bit of money as well.
Yes, most definitely. So we've got £15,000 campaign at the minute to purchase these screens, which will help patients, like David's already mentioned, to make sure they have a better experience whilst at hospital. One of the problems that we find at the minute is that when patients come in, if they're a bit disorientated, which they likely are, nobody likes sleeping in a hospital, let's face it. If they're active during the day, they're more likely to sleep at night, so therefore we'll have less trips, falls and wandering. But also these screens are allowing family members to come in and use them as well to interact with the patients. So if unfortunately they've got nothing to talk about, or as you said earlier, if they're slightly anxious or angry with their family member, they can use this screen as a way of chatting to them.
If people want to get involved with that, how can they help?
They can visit the Health Tree's website, which is thehealthtreefoundation.org.uk, or they can go on Just Giving and type in Golden Leaves and it'll come up and you can donate directly there.
We always talk, Dave, of dementia as a disease. It's something that one suffers. But if there's a point in one's mind where you're not aware of the fact that you're suffering, is there not a possibility that there's sort of blissful ignorance, that the sufferer, that everybody else is enduring something horrible, but the actual patient is unaware?
Yeah, there are lots of people live in denial as well. There's a stigma to dementia as well, because it's an attack on your very person, isn't it? Like somebody says you've got a diagnosis of leukemia or cancer, people accept that. I think a lot of older people think that you're attacking their person by saying they're a little bit mad or they're losing it. So there's a stigma there and a reluctance for patients to engage with GPs. When the disease progresses to a degree, people often lose capacity as well. So they haven't got decisions to make decisions. That's when people step in, like mental health services and GPs.
Well done for doing something about it. Thank you both very much for coming in here.
Thank you.
Join me after the break. Dan will bring us a roundup of the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking to Wendy Fisher about her charitable walking. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Dan brings us a roundup of all the latest sports news, and Wendy Fisher will be telling me about her marathon hike. Frederick Gough School in Scunthorpe is celebrating after its music department was awarded a bronze certificate by the Incorporated Society of Musicians. More than 10% of the previous year 11s achieved A star to C grades in GCSE music. 92% of the music students achieved A star to C, with 50% achieving an A or an A star. The head teacher, Ben Lawrence, said he was delighted to receive the award. 7 runners raised £360 for Grimsby Hospital's Pink Rose Fund on Sunday. They ran and danced their way to the finish line in the Cleethorpes Race for Life. The Pink Rose Fund supports breast cancer patients. One of the runners, Georgia Curtis, lost her mother, Leanne, to breast cancer last year. The youngest of the group, 4-year-old Leela Blue Smithson, couldn't take part in the official run because of her age, so the team gave her her own running number, 702.5. A North Lincolnshire nurse is set to get her walking boots on for a 26-mile marathon hike for charity, and I'm joined by her now, Wendy Fisher. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
How did you get here? Walking?
Unfortunately, no. I was driving down the motorway in the rain.
Now, 26 miles, people run 26 miles. That strikes me as absolutely insane and completely mad. You can't really do that in the location you're going to be taking your walk.
No, I can't. I'm going to be walking part of the West Highland Way around Loch Lomond.
If the weather allows you to see it, that's some of the most beautiful countryside in the world.
It is. It's beautiful, yeah.
Is that where you're from originally?
I'm from Glasgow originally.
And Glasgow belongs to me.
It certainly does.
It does.
I've
had many an amusing night on Sauchiehall Street. Not amusing for me, but amusing. So, why are you doing this walking? Who are you raising money for?
I'm raising money for Macmillan Cancer Nurses. I think most of us know somebody or has been affected by cancer in some way in our lives. And Macmillan do a fantastic job. We have Macmillan nurses work in our trust, our dash, in our Doncaster services. And, well, we were just talking about dementia a moment ago, but cancer is ubiquitous. Yeah.
How much nursing do we need in our region?
I would say quite a lot. We've got an ageing population in this part of the country, and with that, people develop long-term conditions.
It really is just the longer you live, the more likely you are to get something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, Macmillan Cancer Relief, if people want to get in touch and to sponsor your sponsored walk, how can they do it?
They can do it by my Just Giving page.
Would you like me to give the details?
Yes, please.
It's www.justgiving.com/ I can't read my own handwriting.
Fundraising.
Fundraising, thank you, /Wendy-Fisher, numeral 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How much are you hoping to raise?
The minimum target was 250. I've passed that now. I've got about £500. So I'm hoping to raise about 1,000.
When are you doing it?
3rd of June, so only 2.5 weeks away.
3rd of June, so you will be doing it pretty much just at the tail end of midge season.
Yeah.
You're going to be bitten to death, aren't you?
I am, yes. I will be taking some jungle formula. spray with me.
It's very effective. Also, they don't like blood if it's contaminated with whiskey.
Oh, I don't like whiskey, unfortunately.
Utterly unpatriotic of you.
I know.
Okay, so a 26-mile hike round Loch Lomond, or right along the West Highland Way up there in the middle of the summer. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous.
It's going to be beautiful,
And you'll be providing a large amount of money for Macmillan.
Yeah.
We talked about those nursing and cancer nursing, but you're a completely different sort of nurse.
Yeah, I'm a mental health nurse, and I work in North Lincolnshire Mental Health Services and Learning Disability Services as well.
So in that mental health capacity, what are the conditions that you most often come across?
Lots of people have depression, anxiety, psychosis as well, and actually there's a lot of evidence that walking, any exercise is really good for your mental health too.
Is it more frequent, mental health problems? Is this another question of, the older you get, more likely you are to have a mental health problem? That seems unlikely.
No, I think that people are more aware and more able to talk about mental health problems now, so they're more likely to go and seek help.
So it's not that the incidence is increasing, it's that the diagnosis is increasing.
Yeah.
The presentation is increasing.
Yeah, definitely.
If people have these are the really horrible conditions that you described, depression, bipolar condition, things like that. What can be done? As a nurse, it's a great deal of nursing is just holding hands in my experience when I've been nursed. But it's what can you do?
Yeah, there's a lot of effective treatments. So obviously there's medication, but there's also talking therapies, social intervention. So getting involved in group activities, exercise is a great way of improving your mental health as well.
How do you tell? I mean, do you suddenly think to yourself, I'm feeling sad when it's appropriate to be feeling sad, and you'd be mentally unstable not to be feeling sad in some circumstances, or do you just suddenly find yourself skipping around the fields in the middle of the night and realising that that's not usual behaviour for me?
Yeah, I mean, most people say that they don't recognise a sudden onset, so it's quite often family or friends who will say to them that there's a difference in how they are, and that will then prompt them to get some help.
And how does one get some help? What should one do?
Normally go to your GP and speak to your GP, or you can refer to mental health services as well.
Okay. Sounds like very satisfying, but also very emotionally exhausting work.
It can be sometimes, yeah.
And I take it it's not like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Definitely not. No, much more humane.
Okay, much more gentle and friendly.
Yes, definitely.
All right, now then, if I can, let's do a quick reminder of the details to provide money for Macmillan Cancer by sponsoring you on your exquisite 26-mile walk. I can't read my handwriting, I'm so sorry, Wendy. justgiving.com/fundraising/Wendy-Fisher 3.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Wendy, thank you very much. Have an extremely enjoyable walk and raise lots of money. Thank you. Here's Dan with all the sports news.
Scunthorpe United captain Stephen Dawson has left the club. It's been confirmed this afternoon that he's rejoined his former side, Bury. He signed a 3-year deal at Gigg Lane, having reportedly turned down all 3 sides relegated from the Championship. He spent 2 seasons at Glanford Park. Meanwhile, midfielder Neil Bishop has signed a new 1-year deal with the club. The 35-year-old is now set for his 4th season at the Iron, having previously made 137 appearances. He made 46 appearances in all competitions last season, scoring 5 times. Hull City's Young Player of the Year, Josh Tyman, has been named in the England Under-20 squad for the summer. He'll be part of Paul Simpson's team that will play in the Toulon tournament in the south of France. Cleethorpes Town have now sold 3,600 tickets for this Sunday's FA Vase final. The Owls travel to Wembley for the first time in their history to take on South Shields this weekend. They'll be heading down to the capital on Saturday for a 12:15 kick-off the following day. Hull FC's Fatuli Talanoa hopes to be back in the side for the upcoming Magic weekend. They play St Helens at St James's Park on Saturday, and the winger is hoping to make his return to action in the game. He's been out since Good Friday when he injured his hamstring. Talanoa scored a hat-trick in their Magic win over Hull Kingston Rovers back in 2015, and he's hoping to be in the side for a return to the North East. Ice hockey now, and Jamie Chilcott has signed a new deal with the Hull Pirates, making him their new captain. The 23-year-old defenceman will be in his 5th season with the Pirates, but his first as their leader. He came through the Hull youth setup, played for the now defunct Hull Stingrays, and spent some time out playing in North America before returning to the Hull Arena. He scored 5 goals and supplied 24 assists in the Premier Division last season. And finally, some cricket results from the weekend. Hull lost by 56 runs to Sheriff Hutton Bridge, while Driffield hit 355 for 8 to beat Acomb. And on the South Bank, Appleby Frodingham lost at Sheffield Collegiate, and Cleethorpes lost by 4 wickets against Hallam. And that's all for the sport.
Thanks very much, Dan. That's it for tonight, but a few reminders of what we've talked about. If you're interested in helping out the dementia money-raising efforts at Grimsby Hospital, then it's the Health Tree Foundation. You just find that on the internet. If you're interested in, this is not either or, you can do both. If you're interested in Macmillan Cancer, raising money there for that beautiful walk around Scotland with Wendy Fisher, justgiving.com/fundraising/Wendy-Fisher3. And if you're interested in contacting us, then Facebook or Twitter are below me. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472315553. Or I think if you write to Estuary TV Grimsby, it really will get here. Until tomorrow, from all of us here, good evening.
Hello there and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Wednesday cloudy with outbreaks of rain, feeling cooler than Tuesday. The rain will persist through much of the day with heavier bursts at times, maximum temperatures of 14 degrees. Sunshine and showers on Thursday, these often becoming heavy and slow moving with a chance of hail and thunder.
Good evening, you're watching SG News, I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, a Hull man admits to his role in a series of terrifying carjackings across the city. More rail disruption is expected across our region, and remembering Hull's rich fishing heritage on the streets. Later in tonight's programme, the search is on to find East Yorkshire's finest young chef with Roy Woodcock, and before that, Kerry Copson will be telling me about the future of sporting activities for the young across North Lincolnshire. A 23-year-old man has admitted a series of gunpoint carjackings in Hull. Leon Ndenyu was arrested in relation to a series of aggravated vehicle thefts, including a postal van that hit Hull and the East Riding in March. He admitted 18 charges when he appeared at Hull Crown Court on Monday. He and an accomplice sparked a widespread police manhunt when they threatened drivers with an imitation gun. Ndenyu will be sentenced next month. His accomplice remains at large. Northern Rail has announced further strike action later this month in a dispute over the driver-only operation of trains. The 24-hour strike will be on the 30th of May, the day after the bank holiday weekend. Northern has announced it will be operating a reduced service and expects all services to be busy. These include the Cleethorpes to Barton, Scarborough to Hull and Sheffield to Hull lines. Northern's Managing Director Richard Allen said change needed to be made to the on-board role as the railway is modernised. The RMT union's Mike Cash said single driver trains represent a serious safety and accessibility risk short of the guarantee of a second safety qualified member of staff. Hull's rich fishing heritage will once again be at the forefront of Hull 2017 celebrations. As part of the Roots and Roots celebrations, 2 giant murals are being created on Hessel Road, once the heart of the city's fishing community. They'll be unveiled on Saturday, and Ray Hawker, Secretary of Hull Bullnose Heritage Group, says he hopes the murals live up to expectations.
It's always difficult to see anything until it's finished, and you know, while it's still under construction. But we know from the Lily Blocker mural that it'll be very good. I mean, the seas and the ships and everything, they immediately bring back the memories of when we were at sea. And we're looking to have a good crowd of people down. There'll be a lot of people from the council, all the aldermen, the MPs, the MEPs, the councillors. So there'll be a lot of dignitaries here, and hopefully we've publicised this event and we've drummed up a lot of interest.
Tomorrow marks the start of our Hot Topic election specials. Constituency by constituency, we question all the candidates willing or able to take part. The first episode will be shown tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and that will be looking at the constituency of Great Grimsby. Art has been coming alive at Grimsby University Centre. Students in their final year studying for degrees in design have been displaying their work to the public as part of the course. The exhibition, called Gamma, illuminates the students' efforts. Fred McNamara brings us this report.
Students here at Grimsby University Centre are moving their artwork from the classroom to the public eye. The exhibition, called Gamma, showcases the work of the students as they near the end of their degrees. Gamma is the culmination of the BA Design students' work. Their final projects are displayed to be experienced by all and feature a mixture of design work from 3D to UI.
As part of the qualifications of some of these courses every year is to put an exhibition for the end of year show. So typical universities have an end of year show for creative faculty, and this is our version. It's been a hard work getting it together, but because it's a part of their qualification and a graded aspect of the qualification, as part of that module, really the students have pulled a blinder in using all of those marketing skills and communicating with assessors and other students to be able to get the show to come together. So it's a good showcase of all their talents, really.
Sarah Smith is one particular student whose final project evolved drastically from its inception. After creating a storybook for her son, she ended up utilising it in the project itself.
It started off with the illustrations in the book, and then I wanted to bring them to life on the screen, and then from there make them into reality for the children. So the wallpaper was produced to look good in the bedrooms, and then obviously take it further into the bedding, lampshade. There's a lampshade made as well with a scene of the characters, and it was just to make it more fun and show that it's more versatile in a lot of environments. So it's not just about the book, it can be made into other design aspects and then produced further on from there.
One of the difficulties students tend to start with is this fear of critique and having to stand up and present their work. But we all know in the creative industry, you can have 2 clients a day, you can have a client for 6 months, move on to that project, you move on to the next one. There's no job for life anymore, especially in creative industries. You need to leap from project to project. So I think I know it does. It builds their confidence. They have to negotiate with clients, they have to talk to other, they have to organise fundraising events, they have to communicate with other students. Then they have the difficulty of some students maybe not pulling in as much as other students, and they have to weigh all that up and run a project and manage a project from start to finish. So they might not think it, but it does them the world of good.
It's a bit surreal, really. I've had a lot of responses. People want to buy the wallpaper, they want to buy the book, they want to buy the bedding. It has been produced on sites that I can now set up an online shop, so they will be available at some point. I just got to get myself back into a normal way of thinking, I think, over the next couple of weeks. But it has been quite surreal. The people have got lots of really positive comments, and now my head's full of more ideas that I just want to keep going and keep going. And although this is the end of my degree, this is actually the beginning of my career, and that's the start of it, really.
Many of these students have already secured employment, meaning that thanks to the Gamma exhibition, the future of the class of 2017 is looking as bright and diverse as the artwork featured here. From McNamara, Estuary News.
Free sports activity sessions are to be delivered to children or young people across North Lincolnshire thanks to a grant from Active Humber. Kerry Copson of Ongo, which has received the money, joins me now to tell me how the charity aims to get the young people more active, healthy and busy. Kerry, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Where's this money come from?
The money has come from Sportivate through Active Humber and it's £10,000 and aims to get children more active and healthy within 3 areas.
And where did they get the money? Is this a government agency or a charity?
Yeah, it's national funding, yeah.
It's national funding from the government. Okay. And you're going to spend it. Ongo is the social housing agency in Scunthorpe.
It is.
And so why have you got it?
Well, Ongo is a group of companies linked with homes and community investment, and I work in part of Ongo Communities, which has the £10,000 grant.
What are you going to spend it on?
The money will be split between 3 areas, so it'll be Barton, Winterton and Westcliff in Scunthorpe, and it will be spent on young people aged 11 to 24 on sports activities which they request.
Okay, so what is it? £10,000? That's a lot of footballs.
Yep.
What really is it going to be? Is it indoor sports equipment, outdoor sports equipment?
It'll be both. It won't just be equipment. We'll be buying in local providers to actually deliver sessions. So we're linking with different people like boxing providers, football providers, dance classes. So some will be inside, some will be outside. We've got a team of youth mentors working in those estates to really engage with and find out what the young people want.
Why is it so important to provide this?
I think getting kids active is one of the key themes, but also getting them engaged in positive activities, giving them something to do when they're not at school, getting them to socialise, raise their aspirations, and being involved in community-based activities.
Now, I know I sound like an old man when I say this, but in my day we made our own entertainment. We didn't need anything like this. Just go running around in the woods or play a game of football or cricket in the streets, things like that. Or just, sit quietly and, play board games or something like that. So I'm being an old man, I'll say that. But why do they need this extra encouragement to get out there and start moving around and take part in communal activities?
I think with some of the estates where we have tenants, so these 3 areas that I previously mentioned have high concentration of our tenants, and those areas don't necessarily have all the activities that other areas may have. And we really want to focus on those areas to get the kids involved in activities that they might not have tried before. But again, the key focus for this is the young people will choose what they want to do, so we'll work with them and get them encouraged in different activities.
Is there not a risk if they get the choice that you'll wind up spending the money on PlayStations?
That's not part of the grant, unfortunately, so they will have to be sport and activities.
Okay. How many people do you think are going to be involved in this?
We are looking at over 100 young people in each area, hopefully, so lots.
Well, it sounds like an absolute horde, yes. I know that it's getting them involved, getting them out of the house, getting them joining in with each other. Those are the priorities. Yeah. But this sporting activity, there's also a health benefit, I suppose.
Absolutely. Just keeping them active, teaching them about healthy lifestyles, and taking part in sport activity, which they may not be taking part in at the moment.
And is there a sort of an element here where team sports are necessary and valuable, if only because people have got out of the habit of activities that they do communally, that they do in concert with other people? I'm thinking of young people, and I'm unfairly stereotyping them as sitting there in chairs looking at computer screens all day.
Absolutely. I think there's the health benefits, but I think there's also the raising the confidence, socialising with other people that they may or may not know already, and building those communication skills and confidence levels are just as important as the health benefits of the activity.
And you're bringing in professionals, as it were, to coordinate things, referee, I suppose, teach them the rules, show them how to do it. And they'll be coming from the Scunthorpe area as well, will they?
Yeah, across North Lincolnshire, yeah.
Okay, Kerry, thank you very much. Good luck with that. I'm sure it'll be a great success. On a day like this, I'm not sure that sporting activities outside seems a particularly attractive prospect, but I'm sure that will get lots of people out there.
Thank you
very much for coming, Kerry.
Thank you.
Join me after the break. Fred brings us a roundup of the latest news from the world of sport, and Roy Woodcock will be telling me about a chef's competition. Welcome back. You're watching SG News. Still to come tonight, Fred brings us all the latest news from the world of sport, and I'll be talking to Roy Woodcock about the hunt for East Yorkshire's finest young chef. Tributes have been paid to a former Hull City councillor who's lost his battle with cancer. 78-year-old Gordon Wilson served 15 years as a ward councillor for Bransholme West. He retired in 2010. He died at his home in East Hull on Sunday after a long battle with prostate cancer. Wilson served as cabinet member in charge of compulsory education. He later went on to set up the Elizabeth Walker Foundation. The MP for Hull East, Carl Turner, described him as a great socialist. His wife Jean said she was proud of what he achieved. Over 20,000 people attended the International Hants Day in Hull over the weekend. Hants Day celebrates Hull's historic place in the Hanseatic League, an international commercial and defensive confederation of merchant city-states in Northern Europe in the Middle Ages. This year's event attracted 21,000 visitors to the High Street and Museums Quarter, exceeding last year's turnout of 12,000. Over 300 gingerbread people were decorated in traditional European costume, and 156 wooden spoons were decorated in traditional Russian style. Next year's event will be on the 12th of May. Spoken word artist Catherine Scott will be returning to Willoughby Library in East Yorkshire next month. She'll be delivering a selection of her award-winning poetry, including a poem which came second in the National Poetry Rivals Slam in 2015. Scott has been described as Hull's answer to Pam Ayres and expresses her feelings and observations of life through poetry. The free event will be held at the library on the 1st of June at 2 p.m. The search is on to find the best young chef across Hull and the East Riding. And to tell me more about the Copper Saucepan competition, I'm joined now by Roy Woodcock. Roy, thank you very much for coming in.
Well, thank you.
Last time you were here, I think you actually brought the Copper Saucepan. That's not
yes,
quite...
they do actually get one, yeah, Copper Saucepan.
That's the trophy, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and get a miniature one to keep as well.
OK, now, how and what is this competition going to transpire? First of all, sorry, I'm muddling myself here. First of all, who's eligible?
Well, anyone's eligible. There's no upper or lower age limit, but by definition it tends to be younger chefs who are just starting out on their career. But the only criteria is that they must have worked in the catering industry for 4 years or less. So anyone with lots of experience is counted out, but 4 years or less.
But it is they are expected to be professionals.
They
have
are,
to be
yes.
employed
in the industry, either in East Yorkshire or North Lincolnshire. These days we've extended the boundaries a bit further, and last year's winner, Connor Burney, actually was a chef at the Ashbourne Hotel in Killingholme. So we've attracted entrants from across onto the South Bank as well.
Both sides of the Humber.
Yes.
If people want to take part, if young ambitious chefs want to have a go, how do they contact you?
Well, it's easily done via the website, so it's free to enter. It's organised by the Hull and East Yorkshire Hospitality Association, whose members are hotels and restaurants throughout the area. And if they go to their website, which is www.heyha.co.uk, there's an entry form on there, and the deadline for entries is June the 9th.
OK, so coming up quite soon.
Yes, not long.
Once they're entered, what will they be expected to do?
Well, the first part of it is they need to submit a written menu of 3 dishes, starter, main, pudding. The criteria basically is that we're looking to see innovative and quality of the dishes and the use of local produce and seasonal dishes for the time of year that they will be cooking them. So they present their menus as part of the entry. Judges then sift through those and select a short list of semi-finalists who actually then get to cook their menu at Hull College later in June, on June the 26th. I think last year we had 10 semi-finalists who all did their 3 dishes, and at the end of it there were lots of judges, me included, who had a very good lunch.
You must have been very full, exactly. And in that semi-final there's a time limit as well to the cooking time that they
Yes, they need to produce the 3 dishes within 2 hours. So they do get penalised if it goes over time. We use the kitchens at Hull College's catering department, and I think last year we had 2 full kitchens up and running on the day. And from that shortlist, whoever's cooking in the semi-final, there are 2 finalists selected who then go forward to cook off in front of a huge audience at the Beverley Food Festival in October in the Marquee on Saturday Market in Beverley as part of the Beverley Food Festival. And at that event, they need to cook 2 courses in 30 minutes. So a different timescale altogether, and it does get quite intense.
Okay, the Beverley Food Festival, of course, is a wonderful event, and that's
huge,
and it's going to be full of foodies.
Absolutely,
these are people who know what they're talking about, know what they're looking at when they watch people cooking.
That's right. We get lots of support from local chefs, from lots of the well-known restaurants in the area who come and do cookery demonstrations in the food theatre, which is a giant marquee erected on Saturday Market, and that's where the final of the copper saucepan competition will be held on stage. It's videotaped for the audience so they can see in detail all the effort that goes into it. And of course the wider food festival is packed with more than 100 stalls of local food producers. It's a great day out and lots of things going on. But that's October the 1st on a Sunday.
One lucky chef is going to be winning this. What's the reward for coming top?
Well, for the overall winner, they get a cash prize of £300. They get their the little copper saucepan trophy, but they also get a day in the kitchens at Wintringham Fields down the road in Wintringham on North Lincolnshire with Colin McGurran and his team. Colin, of course, a very well-known chef nationally these days, having won the Great British Menu on 2 occasions now. So I think that's a great experience for them.
The Great British Menu is a television programme on a rival television
station. It is, yes, you're right there.
Very well.
And the runner-up gets £100, but also gets a day at Wintringham as well. So they're good prizes. To win something like this looks good on their CV. They're picking up great experience, and from past winners, because this is the 11th year now, some of our winners have gone on to really good careers in catering, in local restaurants and further afield. There's been 1 or 2 who I can think of who have finished up at restaurants in London, and of course they all harbour their own ambition to one day run their own restaurant.
Everybody wants his Michelin stars.
Absolutely,
absolutely. That's the thing to get. Now, you mentioned that you've been a judge in this competition.
Yes,
before.
I have. Yes.
At the semi-finals, I think you said.
Well, and the final sometimes, yes.
So you've had some fantastic meals, I take it. Just
absolutely.
To make our mouths water, describe the finest meal that you've eaten in this competition.
Well, we've had some really good dishes. I think for me personally, I'm a great lover of fish dishes, and some of the best dishes that I've personally tasted have been fish combinations sourced locally, either from Grimsby Fish Market or from the landings on the coast fishermen on the North Bank from Holderness or Bridlington. So we've had some great lobster and crab dishes, but also things like sea bass caught locally.
Sea bass is beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful fish, yeah.
Little known fact that Bridlington is the shellfish capital of
Absolutely, yeah. The sad thing is, though, I think that the vast majority of the lobsters that are produced from that shellfish set up there at Bridlington are all exported abroad.
I know, they see the world, those lobsters. They're international jet setters, Roy.
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Don't have time to read out the website address again, but people can Google it and they'll find it.
They can. They'll find it, yeah.
Copper pan
Copper saucepan competition.
Copper saucepan competition.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
They'll find it. Thank you.
Here's Fred with all the sports news.
Hull FC winger Steve Michaels says he can't wait for his first Magic weekend. The Black and Whites take on St Helens on Saturday in Newcastle. The game is part of a series of 7 games which take place at St James's Park over the weekend. Robert Hicks has been named as the referee for the clash. On to football, and Hull City head coach Marco Silva is reportedly amongst the early frontrunners for the Watford job. Walter Mazzari has been sacked today by the London club. Silva's Tigers were relegated last week, but since his arrival at the KCOM Stadium, they've undergone a revival. Mazzari leaves the Hornets in 16th place in the Premier League. The Cleethorpes Town players now know if they'll be a part of the FA Vase final. Manager Marcus Newell told his players last night if they'd be in the squad for the game at Wembley. The team travelled down to the capital on Saturday ahead of a 12:15 kick-off on Sunday lunchtime. And finally, Hull Pirates forward Lee Bonner has committed his future to the club today. The 20-year-old came through the Hull youth system and has played all but one seasons in the city. He signed on for a further year. And that's all for the sport.
Thank you, Fred. That's it for tonight. Just time to remind you that the website for the Copper Saucepan competition is www.heyha.co.uk. If you want to contact us, details are below me. news@estuary.tv, 01472315553. Write to us at Estuary TV in Grimsby. Until tomorrow, from all of us here, good evening.
Welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Thursday will start dry and bright with some showers inland. However, it is feeling pleasant with the maximum temperatures of 18 degrees. On Friday there'll be sunshine and showers with a chance of hail, and there is some grass frost overnight with the maximum temperatures of 14 degrees.
Good evening, you're watching SG News. I'm Hugh Richards. In the headlines tonight, an attempted abduction in Hull, new mayors begin their terms of office across our region, and a call for dancers as part of LGBT 50 celebrations in the City of Culture. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to our own Luke Adams with news of the City of Culture. And before that, Victoria Russell and Jenny Hodson tell us about World Ocean Day. Police are investigating after 3 men tried to persuade a lone woman to get in their car late at night in Hull. The woman was walking along Alfred Gelder Street early on Sunday morning when a car pulled up alongside her. The 3 men who had spoken to her earlier in the evening told her to get in the car, but she refused. The men left when 2 passers-by intervened. The new mayor, deputy mayor and mayor's cadet for North Lincolnshire have been appointed today. Councillor Peter Clark takes over from Councillor Trevor Foster, while Councillor John Briggs takes on the role of deputy mayor. The ceremony took place today at Scunthorpe Civic Centre. The newly appointed mayor says it's an honour to be appointed and hopes to advance the profile of North Lincolnshire.
It's a great honour to be appointed the Mayor and Ambassador for North Lincolnshire, and I'm sure my wife Carol, the Mayoress, and myself will have a very good year and thoroughly enjoy it. Well, we shall take everything forward and look after the constituents, their requests. We do that now with council tax. We do a survey to see what the taxpayers want from North Lincolnshire, etc. And the South Humber Bank with its industry, I hope that continues to expand. I'm delighted to have Councillor John Briggs as my Deputy Mayor. I've worked alongside John for a number of years and I've got every respect for him. He's very knowledgeable and a very good councillor for the people he also represents. The people of North Lincolnshire, I think, will expect me to promote North Lincolnshire and all what it's got to offer, and there's lots of jewels in the crown in North Lincolnshire, and I shall also promote North Lincolnshire out of North Lincolnshire as well when I'm on my civic duties. My chosen charity is When You Wish Upon a Star, and in 2013-14 when I was Mayor, the team raised an incredible amount of £34,000. But I'm sure we'll have a great year, and the team will do exactly what they did last time to maybe, it's not about the money, it's about the children who benefit from When You Wish Upon a Star. Well, prosperity and economic businesses and safe jobs really around the town and in North Lincolnshire in general.
And over on the North Bank, Hull City Council have nominated its own new Lord Mayor. The former Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor John Hewitt, will serve a new term in office. And Ron Shepherd has replaced Christina McGilligan-Fell in the North East Lincolnshire Chains. The Care Quality Commission has stated that an East Hull care home needs to improve. Following a recent inspection of the Sutton Village care home, inspectors said the quality and safety of the 23-bed unit require improvement. The CQC has downgraded the care home to good as they discovered the service wasn't always effective due to issues in care planning and risk management. The home must now send a report to the CQC on what actions they'll take to improve. Tonight marks the start of our Hot Topic election specials. Constituency by constituency, we question all the candidates willing or able to take part. Here's a preview of tonight's candidate for Great Grimsby and Liberal Democrat parliamentary candidate Steve Besant.
We want to invest in our economy, and it's very important that we start investing because this area has been neglected for so long. We talk about the Northern Powerhouse. We're outside it, we appear to be, because there's been no announcements made for this area. We want new rail infrastructure going from east to west. We're cut off from the rest of the UK, we are, in this area, and it's imperative that we start investing as such.
And that edition will be shown this evening at 8 o'clock. Dancers are wanted for a performance in Hull this summer. It'll take place at the end of July as part of the LGBT 50 celebration. Hull is hosting the first national Pride event, celebrating 50 years since homosexuality was decriminalised. Into the Light is a specially commissioned dance piece choreographed by the award-winning Gary Clark. 2 workshops are scheduled to take place at Victoria Dock Village Hall, and the first one is on Friday. Anthony Dunn is Dance Yorkshire's Marketing and Communications Manager.
We've been commissioned to make a new dance piece which is going to be created by a brilliant choreographer called Gary Clark, who is a member of the LGBT community himself. And he'll be working with 8 professional dancers and 42 non-professional dancers who we're trying to recruit at the moment. And this performance will take place in Queen Victoria Square on July 29th. And between now and then, we're trying to recruit these 42 people. Hopefully lots of them will be members of the LGBT community, but it doesn't matter if other people want to join in. Everybody's completely welcome. And we want to hear those people's stories, their own histories of being members of that community over the last 50 years, as you know, the status and nature of homosexuality in the UK has been changed. So we want to hear their stories, and those will feed into the performance itself. Gary's going to sort of weave them in somehow to a performance which he's called Into the Light. And he's described it as a fast-forward journey through LGBT history. So it's going to take in those personal stories from Hull and the East Riding and weave them together with some of the big national events like the first Pride Parade, for example, or various legislative landmarks along the way. So it's going to be a real celebration, very colourful, very musical, very dancey, and it's going to sort of travel all the way around Queen Victoria Square and onto a specially built stage, and it's going to be beautiful.
A project that encourages youngsters to think of ways of improving their communities has attracted 38 teams in fewer than 4 weeks. The Lifestyle 2017 Challenge asks groups of up to 5 young people aged between 10 and 18 to suggest a project to improve their local community. They'll then be given support to put their ideas into action. Teams such as the Gingers That Care from Grimsby and the Art Maniacs from Hull have thought of a range of schemes, including a bake sale and a tidy up. Now, World Ocean Day is heading to Cleethorpes later this month. It aims to promote the idea of marine conservation and the need to protect our oceans, seas and rivers. And I'm joined now by Victoria Russell and Jenny Hodson of Voluntary Action North East Lincolnshire to tell me more. Thank you both very much for coming in.
Okay.
Tell me what should I know about this event?
It's happening on Tuesday the 30th of May at Cleethorpes Discovery Centre. It's being put on by ourselves at Voluntary Action North East Lincolnshire in partnership with Keep Britain Tidy and Anglian Water's Keep It Clear campaign.
And what can we expect when we get there?
There'll be a day full of activities, local talks and speech and activities from, we've got the Seal Sanctuary from Mablethorpe coming. We're doing nature walks with a gentleman doing bird recognition and things like that. There'll be a short litter pick and litter picks around the area. We've also got various activities, craft activities going on the day, and a lot of general awareness raising around what can go in the ocean, what there is in the ocean, how we need to protect it, the effects of the damage that is done to it, and various causes of the pollution into the oceans.
Well, Victoria, surely we can chuck anything in the ocean. They're very big, you know.
They may be very big, but they all end up in a concentrated area. We use a lot of seas and oceans for our water supply. We take a lot of sea fish from the oceans and things like that. When they absorb and eat plastics and litter that we throw into the oceans, no matter how big, it absorbs into the fish. We take the fish from the seas, we cook it, they then ingest into us, causing all kinds of diseases, food poisonings, things like that, because plastic doesn't degrade.
So it's, the lesson is try to use biodegradable products if they're going to be disposed of.
Most definitely, or recycle responsibly. That's another key message.
How can one recycle irresponsibly, I wonder?
Well, people mix up things, so things that have labels on them, like plastic bottles have labels on them. The plastic might be recycled in one way, the label in another. People tend to throw it into one box, then the whole item cannot be recycled because it's not been.
Should we not be changing the whole sort of culture of our manufacturing and consumer economy then? I mean, to make sure that we are making packaging, for instance, that is firstly biodegradable and secondly can be recycled in one process.
Yep. That's part of the campaign that's going on with the Beach Care and River Watch and people like that present, and people like Anglian Water as well are busy working with manufacturers because of other little beads and that go into toothpaste and the plastic beads in face wipes and washes and makeups and things like that. So there has been a voluntary agreement up to by a lot of the manufacturers that they will start taking them out, and the government's sort of looking up to 2020 for this all to happen. But until it's actually said, yes, you've got to do it, then not all manufacturers will. But until it does start being more pushed by the government and it won't happen. People do need to be aware. But
in terms of the ecology of the oceans, of the wildlife, one of the problems is that they're just getting warmer.
They may be getting warmer, but you've got to remember as well that they also provide a lot of our medicines and things like that through the ecosystems. Microbiology is obviously a great big field when it comes to pharmaceutical medical products.
But are we destroying that with the global warming, especially at the top and bottom ends of the world?
It depends on your stance on it. From a scientific point of view, you could argue that, but you've also got to remember that it's cyclical and things like that. So oceans have heated up, obviously not to this degree before, so it is quite unknown in that respect, but they have also gone down in other places around the globe. So it's just finding that equal balance that we're not harming it, but we're not preserving it as well.
That's fascinating.
As well as we can do.
That's much more cheerful than I expected it to be then.
Yeah.
That it's a cyclical and natural thing.
Yeah.
We're going to have to stop there, I'm afraid, although I must say I think it would be a pity if I didn't see the occasional supermarket trolley on its end in a river. Thank you both very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming
Thank
in.
you very much.
Join me after the break when Dan will bring us all the news from the world of sport and our very own Luke brings us the latest news from the City of Culture. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, all the latest sports news courtesy of Dan and Hull 2017 news with Luke. Cleethorpes Town are playing in the FA Vase final on Sunday at Wembley. It marks the biggest game in the club's history. And I'm joined now by Dave Smith and Matty Powell, assistant managers, to tell me about the game ahead. Gentlemen, first of all, congratulations and well done for getting this far.
Thank you.
This is the highest sort of level that the club's played in its history, I guess. Dave?
Yeah, the club was established in 1998 from a pretty small beginning, to be fair, with big dreams and big hopes. The club has progressed at a really quick level, and this year has seen us achieve something that's not been achieved from a local perspective in terms of the level we've got to, and obviously with Wembley coming up on Sunday, it's just a fantastic achievement for everyone involved.
Well, Matty, Wembley is the sort of great shrine of British football, isn't it? What's it like to be going and playing there?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's not quite sunk in yet. I think on the day it'll really hit us. You know, it's what every boy dreams of. I've said it a few times. You know, every little kid dreams of playing at Wembley, and our players are going to get the opportunity to do it this Sunday. So,
who are your players?
Who are our players?
I don't mean list them.
No.
But tell me, these are not professionals earning millions of pounds, are they?
No, they'd like to be, I'm sure. But we'll give the dream of Wembley instead of that. Best description, just local lads who have probably been at clubs as young boys with an ambition to achieve better things, and for one reason or another ended up with our level of football. But local boys, live in the local community, work locally. We're lucky to have a pool of players that we can call upon that are so good with the skill and the ability they've got. But it really helps us that local aspect of the players. They play football together, they hang around together, they're best friends, and it just gives us a great edge in any game we've played.
Well, it's much more sporting to be playing for the love of the game rather than playing for money, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much effort, though? There's a certain amount of dedication and time required for this. How much effort are your players and everybody else involved in the club? How much do you have to put in?
The players, from our point of view, and the players will train twice a week, play on a Saturday. Most Saturdays we're away midday, something like that. We won't get home till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. With the training twice a week, they're putting in a fair bit, and the people behind the scenes that basically do all the work for us, they put in a lot more hours, and you know, it's fantastic that this community can do things like that.
Are you putting in extra training? Are you upping that effort but with the game of this size on the horizon?
I think that we've left it to the players to some extent in terms of we put on sessions. Matt is more involved in that than me in terms of putting on sessions for the players. But what's been fantastic is they've grabbed it. They know how big this is, and there's extra sessions. I'm getting WhatsApp videos of people proving they're out running in Willesby Woods, because some of them we wouldn't believe, to be fair, Mark Cooper. But they're putting sessions in themselves and meeting up together because they know, this is a fantastic stage and opportunity for them to do the best.
Well, I don't want to say that this might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play at Wembley, because I'd like to think that every season there's a possibility of going to Wembley, but they must be aware. You must be aware that this probably is a once-in-a-lifetime.
Yeah, like I said, it's something you dream of, and the step up with winning the league this year, the competition we'll be entered in next year will be a lot higher and a lot higher ranked teams in it.
Because you go up a rank then, do you? Because
we'll next year we'll go into the FA Vars
Trophy.
FA Trophy. We're in the Vars final, which was up to our level. We've moved up a level now after winning the league. So
the chances are that you'll be playing better teams next season.
Yeah, next season in terms of the step of football will be a bit more a wider range of locations as well. So there's a bigger catchment area of clubs will play. And as Matty was saying, we're going to the FA Trophy, which goes up to the conference level now. So probably Wembley is a far-stretched dream there, but in terms of clubs we could draw against, your Tranmere's, teams such as this, will be in that competition, so there's something else to go for in terms of getting a great draw, but once in a lifetime for Wembley, I would think.
Cleethorpes Town, above all, is a community club, isn't it? And you were saying, David, people just coming in and helping out and doing their bit for it. What sort of support have you been getting from the locals? From the Meggies?
At this moment in time, it's massive. I think we've sold nearly 4,000 tickets.
Yeah, nudging. Hopefully we get to that level before Sunday.
Yeah, there's 7 coach loads going from the club, and it's just fantastic. Everybody's asking us about it, and everybody's coming on board with it. It's great, really.
It's a small club, though, and it's a small town. Is it rather a remarkable thing that you're getting to this level? That you're looking at trophies with the initials FA before their name for a club your size?
I think that's fair to say. I think we play an awful lot of bigger cities, bigger towns that have a huge catchment area. The M62 corridor, for example, can draw from a wide area, where at the end of the A180, the M180, it is difficult to attract players to make that journey just to come to the game. So we are lucky to have such a strong pool of players. But it brings us together. It means everyone, as we said before, is local, friends. And just touch on the point in terms of the community, the local business community, the sponsors, tracksuits, You know, people, Burton's Menswear have decked us out in suits for the day. It's been great support to make sure we're prepared.
Well, good for all those supporters, and I hope they're very happy after this game. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank
Have
you.
an absolutely
Thank you very
brilliant
much.
game.
Thank
Remember,
you.
it's about taking part. Talking of which, here's Dan with the sports news.
Grimsby Town defender Sean Pearson has taken to Twitter to confirm he's leaving the club. The 28-year-old has reportedly not been offered a contract by manager Russell Slade. He says it's a sad day for him personally, but has wished the club all the best moving forwards. Elsewhere, Hull City trio Harry Maguire, Abel Hernandez and Evandro will miss the final game of the season this Sunday. The latter suffered a groin strain in the defeat at Crystal Palace last weekend, while Hernandez will again miss out with an ankle injury. Harry Maguire injured his knee in the early stages of the second half, so could have played his final game for the Tigers. He's been linked with a move away this summer. Meanwhile, Huddersfield Town and Reading will fight for the chance to replace City in the Premier League. Huddersfield knocked out Sheffield Wednesday, who City beat in the playoff final last year, while Reading overcame Fulham. The FA have approved plans to take retrospective action against diving from next season. A 2-game ban could be handed out after the event of a player either diving or feigning injury. North Ferriby United have announced their first pre-season game. They'll host Rotherham United on Wednesday the 26th of July. Both sides have just been relegated from their respective divisions. And Lee Radford has 3 of his biggest names back for the Magic weekend. Fatuli Talanoa, Sika Manu and Carlos Tuamavave are all back in the Hull FC 19-man squad for the clash with St Helens at Newcastle's St James's Park. Josh Griffin, who came off in their last game with injury, is fit and available. Chris Green is in line for his 100th black and whites appearance. And finally, cricket, and Yorkshire bowler Ryan Sidebottom says he's ready for his first appearance of the season, starting tomorrow. The Tykes take on old foes Lancashire at Old Trafford. He's missed the first 6 weeks of the season with a hamstring injury. And that's all for the sport.
Thanks very much, Dan. Now I'm in cultural company with our very own Luke, giving us news of the City of Culture. Luke,
Good
welcome.
Thank you. Thursday once again, it soon comes round.
It does. What's going on in Hull?
Celebrating the Bantu culture, a new project as part of the Creative Communities programmes, one of the 60 projects. So another one has been revealed, like I just said, celebrating the Bantu culture. The next event is taking place on Saturday at St Martin's Church Hall on North Road, obviously, in Hull.
And Bantu culture. Bantu covers an awful lot of cultures across Central and Southern Africa,
right.
doesn't
A
it?
little bit of research earlier, and it's a massive geographical span, southward from Central Africa right across to the down to South Africa. Massive. And Bantu apparently is a general term for the 600 or so ethnic groups in Africa who speak Bantu languages.
Then it is appropriate to move on to travel photography.
Travel photography. One of the world's leading photography exhibitions, awards, is coming to Hull from today until the end of June, and that's at the Princess Dock Street, and it's featuring a range of images, so New York, all that kind of thing, imagery, and they're going to be obviously showcased at this exhibition, which is also free.
New York, but there's also some volcanoes and
That's
ice
right.
flows and things like
Yeah.
that. Is it travel photography if you just happen to live in the town?
Good point.
Do you have to identify where you live before you know whether or not it's travel photography?
Well, apparently selected photographs winning shots from last year's international photographies, and entries came from across the world, and photographers from 21 countries are among the winners who are going to be showcased.
Time very briefly for a little news of punk.
Yes, that's right. The King Blues, a London punk rock band, are coming to Hull at the Freedom Centre on the 2nd of June.
Excellent. Okay, and that's all we can say about that, but I like a bit of punk. Thank you very much, Luke. That is it for tonight. If you have a news story for us or anything else for us, then please get in touch via the Facebook or Twitter information below me, or email news@estuary.tv, or you can pick up the dog and bone and call us on 01472 31 553, or write to us. I'll give you the whole address today. Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN 345BQ. Until tomorrow, from all of us on the team here, good evening.
to Estuary TV's weather. Friday will see a cloudy start with some heavy bursts of rain in the afternoon. However, it is feeling cool, with maximum temperatures of 13 degrees. On Saturday there'll be some sun and some thundery showers, but it will be mostly dry, with maximum temperatures of 17 degrees.